Hello, I will be reading from The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. It's banned for the depiction of teenage sex, homosexuality, rape, and drug use. Here's a selection from the novel. Before we left the party, Sam played me a few of her favorite songs. One was called Blackbird, the other was called MLK. They were both very beautiful. I mentioned the titles because they were as great when I listened to them sober. Another interesting thing happened at the party before we left. Patrick came downstairs. I guess Brad had left, and Patrick smiled. And Bob started to make fun of him for having a crush on the quarterback, and Patrick smiled more. I don't think I ever saw Patrick smile so much. Then Patrick pointed at me and said something to Bob. "He's something, isn't he?" Bob nodded his head. Patrick then said something I don't think I'll ever forget. "He's a wallflower." And Bob really nodded his head, and the whole room nodded their head. And I started to feel nervous in the Bob way, but Patrick didn't let me get too nervous. He sat down next to me. "You see things. You keep quiet about them, and you understand." I didn't know other people thought things about me. I didn't know they looked. I was sitting on the floor of the basement of my first real party between Sam and Patrick, and I remembered that Sam introduced me as her friend to Bob. And I remembered that Patrick had done the same for Brad, and I started to cry. And nobody in that room looked at me weird for doing it. And then I really started to cry. Bob raised his drink and asked everyone to do the same. To Charlie.